Joining me now from Southern California, coordinator for the Election Integrity Project, Ruth Weiss. Ruth, election integrity, kind of an oxymoron in the great state of California these days. What concerns you, other than this crazy notion of forcing people to vote and penalizing them if they don't vote? You have a right not to vote, too, last I checked. Other than that, what is concerning you most going into the primary right now, just 3 weeks away?
What's concerning me most is the possibility that people are going to have a tremendous loss of trust in our electoral process here in California. I mean, it's already very weak as it is, and people don't really have much faith that their vote counts the way they've cast it, and for a multitude of reasons. But now with the chaos that's going to come, I'm really afraid there'll be a lot of chaos at the polls and prior to the election as people begin to look at their vote-by-mail ballots and realize they got the wrong one or they got the one they didn't want, and all of these new laws that have been passed that the people don't know anything about. And I think people are going to be angry and frustrated, and that will lead to a lot of voter suppression. That's a real concern.
Vote by mail now is the majority, is it not, in California? People don't realize in the 49 other states that, what is it, about 60–70% vote by mail now in California?
70 to 75% of Californians will get a vote by mail ballot this time due to the Voters' Choice Act that's being implemented now in 15 counties.
So does that make you happy, or does that worry you more?
No, that's very distressing. Two presidential commissions have found that the mail ballot is the least secure way to vote, and it doesn't meet the standards of a fair and honest election, and we have been hoodwinked into believing that that's the way we should go. But it allows for a lot of fraud and a lot of ballot manipulation behind closed doors where people don't know, and it's a big concern.
And so what are you doing as part of election integrity to try and restore the integrity in California? Do you have a game plan right now?
Well, our game plan remains the same as it has been for 9 years, but we're stepping it up. As our observers are out there, we're basically blowing the whistle. We're making every effort to publicize more and more what's going on in California, what's happening to voters, record numbers in 2018 that never received their ballot and were disenfranchised. Our data team is working. It's the best data team in the nation by far, and they're finding what's wrong with the voter rolls and why we can't trust our elections, and we're trying desperately to take our message to the federal government now and get someone there to listen, because California needs to be investigated.
But the Democrats in Sacramento, your leadership, state leadership, they keep moving the goalposts. They keep changing the rules on you. It's a fluid situation. There's a bill right now in Sacramento that Democrats are trying to fast track. That, on the surface it sounds, reasonable, but if you think about it, this is a disaster. This bill would permit voters to change their party affiliation or address within 2 weeks of Election Day without having to re-register to vote. That invites voter fraud. And people, again, need to realize in California that there are more registered non-party preference than there are registered Democrats in California. And so that's what these devious Democrats are eyeballing, right? Is the no party preference, where they could change, they could switch their party affiliation. They're not allowed to vote, for example, a Democrat or Republican candidate, from what I understand, right?
No party preference can vote a Democrat ballot or a Libertarian or American Independent ballot, but cannot vote any of the other parties. And so that creates confusion for the voters, because there's only in a presidential primary is that the case, and we haven't had one in a while, and so people don't know the rules and they're very lost and confused. But it all goes back to this law that's registering people at the DMV, because the default there is no party preference. So a large number of people who are now no party preference had no idea that's what they were. And suddenly they're finding that out, and that's part of the anger and chaos that's happening here.
And so you step back and you look at what California is doing, it's clear. All the laws kind of funnel into this movement, requiring all residents to vote in California. Yeah, all residents to vote in California, right? That includes how many illegals. We don't know how many illegals live in California, and they're hoping on people who are, from another state who may be just walking up and voting. It just invites voter chaos and voter fraud.
Well, I believe that the proposed law so far says all registered voters, but then when you look at the DMV and they're registering everyone, whether they want to be registered or not, whether they're eligible to be registered or not, you're having these huge registration drives in high schools where the kids don't even know what they're doing and they're getting pre-registered. Many of them are not even legal citizens and they're not being helped to avoid committing that felony. So it's really a great deal of chaos in this state. And unfortunately, other states are picking up that lead and saying, well, let's do what California's doing, and we don't want this to spread to the rest of the nation.
No, we don't want the California contagion. Keep up the good work in California, Ruth.
Thank you.
We need to clean up the once golden state and its electoral madness. Ruth, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.